The thing about Michelle Obama is she's always negative. Everything she says has got a negative spin on it. She's negative about the country. She's negative about her time as first lady. She's very negative about her husband. I fully believe that they have a bad marriage. She did not marry the right person. It's not a good match. She almost never says anything nice about him. That too, she's now trying to defend as somehow, I don't know, this is like a racial attack when people say this. You tell me if you can figure it out. By the way, she's speaking here to her brother and actress Taraji B. Henson, SOT 25.
Also, as
Yes, there is something about Megyn Kelly. She goes straight to the point and expresses herself directly without blinking word. That is what I noticed with her. Look at her reactions to all this. Michelle Obama, after a few months, is coming out to say, "Oh, I took a decision not to attend Trump inauguration because of this, because of that." Hmm. When I watched the podcast to a certain length, I didn't want to even go deep into that because I'm not really a fan of that podcast. She's not really doing well on the podcast. But when I saw that, oh, this is the reason I didn't attend the inauguration, I was triggered to watch the videos. I'm going to show you what exactly she said. But before I do that, if you love what I'm doing here, please, when you see my notification, tune in and share the video and check if you are subscribed to this channel.
The way she's speaking here to her brother and actress Taraji B. Henson, SOT 25.
also as Black women, we are so easily labeled as angry and bitter. And let me tell you some of the most hurtful stuff that I experienced, entering this life of public service at the heights that we entered into was during my husband's presidential campaign. Mm-hmm. And just me telling the truth of who we were, just humanizing him as a man, saying he's a great man, but he's not perfect. Mm-hmm. He's got his foibles and his flaws, trying to humanize him. The first thing that some female journalist said was that I was bitter. I was emasculating him just by sort of trying to tell the truth about what life is, right? And then you get labeled as angry, because you talk forcefully or passionately about something, even if it's in the context of great joy and pride, that the first label they put on us as Black women.
Okay, so first of all, the fact that this woman, with all of her riches and celebrity trappings, friends, successes, etc., is upset and still bitching about what, quote, some female journalist said one time about her 18 years ago. Like, there's something wrong with her. Like, I guarantee you I've had far more negative press than Michelle Obama. I guarantee you I have, because I have been hated by both the right and the left. And you let it go. You move on. Sometimes you even befriend the people who said the nasty things about you, because life is life. It's short, and the less grievances you can hold on to, the better. That's not how she sees things. And she wants to turn it all into a thing about skin color, about when people see her as, yes, bitter, and yes, often angry. But what I just said is kind of just depressed and dark about most subjects whenever she's talking. She not only does she hate Trump, she doesn't think much of America. So she can sit this one out. They did everything in their power to defeat Trump both times, and they lost, right? In 2016 when they really put it on the line, and then again this time around. No one listened to them. They're as irrelevant as J-Lo now in their political opinions about who should be president. They can't sway anybody who's swayable, right? They can motivate some Democrats, obviously not enough. So their time has passed in the way that, it's sad that Jimmy Carter died. He had a great long life, but nobody was asking themselves, what did Jimmy Carter think about this political issue by the end? And Obama's already turfed off into that category.
Yes, if you have been following the news keenly, you realize there was a certain time speculations were everywhere because these two people were never together. In certain occasions, people said, oh, maybe they are about to divorce. Divorce rumors were everywhere. that time, when I look at that,
How much is enough money, according to the Obamas? 70 million? Because public reports estimate that that is their net worth, parlayed on the back of Barack Obama's 14 years of holding political office. He did not spend 50 years in government service. He did a stint in the Illinois State Senate. He did a couple years in the U.S. Senate before he ran for office and won. All right. Then he did 2 terms as president. And off of that, he's made himself over $100 million, almost $100 million, probably over, to be honest. We don't know all of the earnings. The Obamas reportedly own 4, count them 4 luxury properties. A home in Martha's Vineyard, estimated to be worth some $20 million bucks. In addition to properties in Washington, D.C., reportedly bought for $8.1 million, a beachfront home in Hawaii, reportedly bought for $8.7 million, and a home bought in Chicago for $1.65 million. Is that more than you need, Mr. Obama, Mrs. Obama?
I don't know if you know this, but the Obamas have been dogged by vicious and false rumors since they've been in the public eye. So Michelle just appeared on Sophia Bush's podcast to address the latest claims that they're divorcing. Look.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship.
for some time now, I've seen a lot of people talking about this, like what is going on between Michelle Obama and the husband. At a certain point, I almost concluded like there is something going on.
As women, I think we struggle with like disappointing people.
Yeah.
I mean, so much so that this year people were, they couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself, that they had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing. This couldn't be a grown woman just making a set of decisions for herself, right?
Right.
But that's what society does to us. If it doesn't fit into the sort of stereotype of what people think we should do, then it gets labeled as something negative and horrible.
Yeah. Well, I think addressing rumors like this head on is a great move. Do you think it'll put anything to rest, or does the rumor mill just run amok?
Probably runs amok.
Yeah, it just runs amok. I mean, I love what she said, though. Can it just be a grown woman making decisions for herself? Because if you think about it, she has been in the public eye a bit begrudgingly, right? She didn't run for office. Her husband ran for office. She did a wonderful job as first lady. But she's got I think, 23-year-old, a 26-year-old. She's an empty nesting. She's thinking about Michelle Obama right now.
She's in her era.
Some of those messages that I've been saying to myself, and then trying to actively practice something different to rewire those neurons in my head that make me keep pushing and keep striving. And so practicing no in a very different way intentionally. But then this is what makes it hard because, my decision to skip the inauguration, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart. Right. It's like, while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me, and it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me. That was a hard thing for me to do. I had to basically trick myself out of it. And it's
Michelle Obama is telling us like she needed more self-care, like she needed to care more about herself. When I look at this situation to a certain point, I saw everything, during that period. Speculations, what people actually thought about the whole scenario. Now coming out to tell, oh, that was because she needed therapy. Maybe she was going through a lot. Yeah, because she said something during this podcast, like leaving the White House was something she really wanted. Like they were exhausted. She needed time now to regain herself. This, I don't know how true this is, but that is their personal life. I don't always like to interfere into people's business. Like Megyn Kelly said, nobody cares what Michelle Obama is doing or saying at this point. That is the simple truth. I just decided to react to this video to clear up some people who have been putting out videos on this topic. Reason I decided to share more light on what is happening. I want to appreciate people who constantly support me on this channel. If you are new to this channel, this is what I do daily. I update you on things happening in around you. That is just me. There are some people who usually complain, oh, I don't understand you. Please get used to the way I speak. If you meet me on the street, this is how I speak. Nothing will change. But I'm struggling to improve on my English language because that is not actually my first language.
I don't think that honestly policy is what we need to be fighting about. Because guess what? Can't nobody tell you what Donald Trump's policies were at all. Like you ask them, like, what policies? I don't know, but he gonna bring down the cost of eggs. But last time I checked, that didn't happen, right?
You're the most entertaining member of Congress right now.
You know, even Michelle Obama, I am still trying to tell myself that I am doing enough, right? Because there's always that feeling. I think we practice that striving because in order to be successful, I always felt like I had to be smarter, faster, work harder because somebody was going to doubt me. Somebody was already telling me why I couldn't do something before they knew me or I even tried. So you get in and I don't think this is unique to just women of color. I don't think it's just unique to men. But when you get in that...
But what if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense because if you are afraid the day before, well, you have to take...
Compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor. Was it...
Followers for anything. And then the...
Registration Act is...
Thank you guys for sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly.
We start talking about this man, Kilmore.
These are the